Me too. But now what? Did you know that it's your choice in how you feel? I think we often forget this because as emotional beings, we've grown up in a very unemotional world. A world that knows all too well how to shut down, numb out, tune out our emotions. But at what cost? And where have we learned to be so emotionally disconnected? Well, that's easy. It's our past experiences. For me, that moment happened when I was just 8 years old. My family gathered with great excitement for my cousin's birthday. And as everyone took off on a tour of the new mansion they had just purchased, my uncle leaned down and offered 8-year-old me a chance to drive the family golf cart. What kid is going to say no to that? Well, as we took off on this adventure with great excitement, quickly turned to great despair. As it was in that moment where my innocence was taken from me. And it was the start of many, many years of sexual abuse. This was my moment that had taught me to no longer feel. What's your moment? Maybe you can relate to the whole Me Too revolution. Maybe you finally feel the strength because of the celebrity icons, friends, and fans that are speaking up and speaking truth about this issue that is in our country and in the world. Because did you know that statistically, 1 in 10 children will be sexually abused by the time that they turn 18 years old? 10% of our population knows this pain. Me too. But now what? Speaking that truth, acknowledging the fact that, hey, I've had this happen. This is an issue. There isn't any justice. There's no repercussions that are being served to the people who are being or that have been abused or being the abuser. So what happens after that? When we're left with that emotional turmoil, the pain, and maybe that what you're not Me Too. Maybe you didn't experience sexual abuse or assault, but maybe you have a moment from your past that is still haunting you, that is keeping you from being vulnerable, from being intimate, for being seen, for speaking up, standing up, for knowing your truth. Because it's these moments that teach us and condition us to shut down, tune out, and numb out our emotions. And when these moments from our past define us, that is truly where we begin to suffer. Suffering happens when we forget that we have a choice. Suffering happens when we forget that it's our choice on how we want to be at any given moment. When we forget it's our choice and how we feel. Me Too is the first step. The next step is taking the emotional responsibility to choose to no longer suffer, to continue to move forward and heal in spite of what has happened to you. I personally went on to suffer from that moment for more than 13 years. And that suffering led me into drugs, addiction, in and out of jail, in and out of toxic relationships, feeling worthless, feeling angry and hatreds towards God and towards life and towards people. I was shut down, tuned out, and was numbing out with food, with fitness, with drugs, with drinking, whatever I could to no longer feel. What are you doing to numb out? How are you coping? Once we acknowledge this, now we have to move on from it. It was in the early months of my reunion with my real father. I was 21 years old and I came out to California, and thank God he was ready for a hot mess because I came in like a whirlwind of a mess. And in the early months of that reunion, he handed me a book, and within it, a message. It said, pain is inevitable. Suffering is optional. This message struck me to my very core because I had suffered for 13 years. And now all of a sudden I have this insight that tells me that it's my choice in suffering. It was this message that not only drove me on a path to radically transform my life, but the lives of thousands of others just like you. This is where I learned that I could change the way that I feel. That it was my choice to continue to suffer or not. I was a victim to sexual abuse. This was my pain. Being victimized by the incidents in our past, that is our suffering. People just like me and you will continue to suffer until they too remember that it's their choice in how they feel. Hey guys, hopefully this message has helped inspire you. If you have done some personal development work, but you're still haunted by the pains of your past, reach out and let's talk. Because there are tools and solutions how we can begin to physically transform the way that your brain functions. These past experiences actually begin to shape and mold and condition our brains in ways that can hinder us and keep us trapped in suffering and anguish and hurt. And if you're ready to finally move beyond, to reclaim control of your life and truly let healing penetrate every ounce of your being, so you too can be an inspiration for all those in this world who know your pain, then let's talk. Because I have a year-long program with your name on it. Until next time, Bonnie Conner.